right to request a meeting to formulate suggestions and or participate in decisions regarding their child's education. And of course, we want to encourage them that if this is parents and guardians, that if they have suggestions and wanting to talk to the teachers, that they've scheduled a conference through the campus offices. Don't just show up. Please schedule those. Every teacher in our district has a prep period, and so the office can help say, well, here's when that teacher's prep period is, and that would be the best time to come for a meeting for that. And we want parents to be involved in their child's education. That's the big thing there. So if you have suggestions, we want the suggestions, and we just want to make sure that we're going through the right process there. Here on the next PowerPoint, when we talk about the annual report to the public, I'm going to talk about our report card grade, but it's still under the rights of parents to know. Parents have the right to receive individual student assessment reports, so how their student did on last spring's ACT Aspire, they have the right to know that. They have the right to know on the interim assessments that we do through iReady what my child scored. And not just that, but they also have the right to know to say, what are you going to do about it if they're not scoring what they should? How is the school going to help my child? And parents need to be that involved with it.
Yeah. And
Yes,
the
sir.
parents can see that online, or they have to contact the school?
They have to contact the school on that. On the ACT Aspire, that should have been sent home already. It probably was sent home through the child. Every school I've ever been at has been sent home through the child. And so you know how that goes. Back when I was in school, they used to pin it to our shirts. We don't do that anymore. Access to Shirley School report card. Right now, you cannot access the report card on My School Info. They had it out for private viewing, but they've since taken it down. Eventually, they're going to put it back up. So the only people that has access to that, that did have, was your campus administrators. We no longer even have access to it. But I did print it off before we had no access, so we're actually going to look at it here in a second. So I'm not going to read the whole slide there, but pretty much parents have the right to know everything it is about their child's education. And we want our parents to be very informed. So if you notice about every communication I send out, everything that I put out on Facebook typically will end with, if you have any questions, contact this person at this email address or at this phone number. And I think that's very important. We do have, and a lot of this stuff is found on our website, like the parent engagement plan. You can find that on our website. And if you, the parent or guardian, need help going through the website, please let us know, and I will go through that with you. I mean, I don't mind if you come up and we'll go through it together. We have a lot of good information on our website. It's just sometimes it looks overwhelming because it's so much information that we're required to have. And so I don't mind going through and helping go through there. The Parent School Compact we have in our handbook, just simply how we, the school, the student, the parents, going to work together for the benefit of their child. We're looking for parent feedback through the course of the year. We will start sending more and more surveys, and I know people go, yay, surveys. But really, surveys are a way for us to gather information to see what we're doing well as areas of concern, which is what we sent out just the other day when it was in regards to the high reliability school survey. You know, we sent that out on 2 different occasions. The deadline was last Friday. I really want to know what our parents feel about our campus. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, we need to know. And we need to know the areas that are concerning to our people so we can address those areas. And surveys is a good way for us to do that. Title II, Part A. Once again, I'm going to kind of fly through this because it's the same type of stuff as Title I. So if you're trying to improve the quality and effectiveness of teachers, principals, school leaders, if you're trying to increase the number of teachers, principals, school leaders who are effective, just anything that you possibly can to improve teaching and learning, you can use your Title funds for. Once again, you have to be consistent with Title II's purpose, which is a very wide range of activities to support quality and effectiveness of teachers, principals, and other school staff. And then Title IV, Part A, once again, it's student support and academic enrichment. It's what can we provide our students to make sure they have a well-rounded education. Improve the school conditions for student learning, so you're looking at safe and healthy students. Improve the use of technology in order to improve the academic achievement of digital literacy. So there's a lot of different areas for these titles, but once again, the main theme around it is how are we improving our teaching and our learning. And as always, if you have any questions about Shirley School District's title programs, please contact me. We'll go through it. I'm not going to claim that I have all the answers, but I promise you that I will find out the answer that you're looking for. I have lots of contacts both around here as well as the State Department, so we'll find the answer for you. So that's the information for our title meeting. And I did relatively good on that, 12 minutes.
Good.
The next thing is probably my favorite thing out of either one of those to talk about, and that's simply the annual report to the public. I like talking about it because we're not talking simply about funds that we get from federal government. We're talking about our school. And I love talking about our school. Our school is a very unique school. I've told people that since I've gotten here. It's a very unique school. We have a lot of varying demographics in our district as far, and not really when you talk about the ethnic breakdown, but when you talk about the socioeconomic breakdown, it's very diverse. And talking to the facilities guy from the co-op, we were talking about something. He said, I would just have to imagine that you guys, when it comes to partnership funding, that y'all just get a bunch of it. And we looked on the website, and I said, well, the state kicks in 5%. And he's like, oh my gosh, what in the world's going on? So I had to kind of explain the district a little bit. Why our assessment is so high, our numbers of students is pretty low, and the socioeconomic breakdown of our district is the way it is. But it's a very unique campus and district, but it's so enjoyable. So let's talk about our district for a minute. I did go ahead and attach the budget that we talked about last month, and really the budget simply is, if I do my job well enough, and hopefully that's the case, then we're coming out ahead this year than what we were even last year, and that's the key theme. We want to spend what we have to spend to support our students and our teachers, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're spending on things that's actually going to help our students and teachers. We're not going to spend just to be spending. Right now, our enrollment is 320, which we're going to see that in the board meeting as well. Just a few projects. Luckily, we were able to transfer some money from operating into our building fund this year, quite a bit of money actually, which is great. But there are some projects that I believe need to be completed in the next, and when I say in the next year, I'm talking about from now till the end of school, okay, in the next year. First off, our school-based health center, we have got to get that up and running. It seems like we're kind of running into some snags here and there. The grant is a 3-year grant. It's total of about $325,000, but you get that in 3 years. First year is $150,000, second year is $100,000, third year is $75,000. What we've come in to do now is that $150,000, that's for everything. That's for renovation down there. That's for your equipment. That's for your furniture. That's for everything. That's not enough. And so we're looking at alternative ways that we can get that done. We're looking for grants that might be able to help us out in that area. So that's kind of where we're at. We're kind of stuck for a minute. The cost of renovation down there, we weren't anticipating on it being as high as what it was. So therefore, we're going to have to take a step back, involve an architect and all that, and then kind of start all over again with that. So the good news is once we get our architect, the architect takes care of a lot of stuff for us. We don't have to worry about some of the stuff that we've been worrying about. Repaving of all parking areas. We have some that's all of our parking areas are pretty terrible, but we have some that's less terrible than others. But once again, we really feel like, just by looking at it, that we need to repave every area that we can. Some of them are just terrible. The moisture has gotten to them. There's just a lot of areas that we need to address. Roofing of the elementary building, the anticipated part there is the spring of 2023. I think it's just simply the process. I think we found what we want. I think we found a good solution for what we need. I think we found a solution that will last us about 10 to 15 to 20 years, which is great. But we just need to get it done. And then lastly, pouring sidewalk and ramp access to the Agri building. That's like ASAP coming up. Like as soon as I can get with, I think I have a meeting on Wednesday of this week to go, okay, here's what I'm wanting to do. Give me a quote and let's get it done. And so we got that coming up, and that's our most pressing issue right now. Everything else is kind of an eyesore on stuff, but it's not a necessity ASAP now. That last one is ASAP now.
Are we gonna talk about that one in the meeting later?
Later on,
Okay,
yeah. Not tonight.
not tonight, but
No.
you have a plan.
Once you
Okay.
get the
Correct.
details, okay.
Yep, I gotta get some details first, and then we'll definitely be talking about it.
Okay.
Our report card, this is the one that I've kind of been, I'm not gonna lie to you, dreading to talk about, and here's the reason why. So let me get to, so let's look at the elementary school first, and I know most of this you're gonna go, that doesn't mean anything to me, and that's fine. Hopefully it will by the time we get all said and done. Every year, a school gets what's called an ESSA index score, and it's based on lots of areas. For the elementary, there are several areas, but here's kind of the breakdown of how you get, and I'm sorry for my handwriting, it's terrible. But here's kind of how you get your letter grade and your score, your ESSA score. 35% is what they called weighted achievement. So if it's not just simply about how many students we have in the proficient on the test or above on the test, that does play a part, but it also talks about, as you can see down there, that 50% is growth. So yes, we want students to score as high as we possibly can, and even in that proficient, but the majority of your letter grade is growth. So that's why we're trying to go back and go, okay, let's figure out at the elementary school level, let's figure out these skills that so far it's obvious that we don't have. So we got to stop assuming that we have them. We have to realize here's where we're at, now what are we going to do to address that? 50% of your grade is growth. So if we can identify those standards, those skills that we're missing, help kids to master that, just that alone should raise our score. That's what we're trying to focus on. Get those kids to where we need to be. Even if they don't hit the mark where we have up here, help them to grow. And then the last one is a term called, or the initials SQSS, which I'm still looking into, to be honest with you, but that's 15%. Right here in this 50% is where we want to focus at the elementary level. We've got to grow our kids. So going back up to the ESSA score, we received an ESSA score of 57.79, and as you can see, the state average index score was a 67.28, so we're 10 points behind that. So what that means for us, I think it's on this next page. Yeah. So we're at a 57. 57 falls into the F category. I've often said that I do hold stock into the letter grade, but I don't hold complete stock into the letter grade. Do I think that the elementary school is an F campus? No. Do I think there's some issues that we need to identify and work through? Yeah. But I don't think that we're an F campus. But according to the state of Arkansas, we are. Okay? So that's the reason why I was not just thrilled to have to bring that news. But let's talk about the high school, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to do because of it. High school, let me gear up here. It's different when it comes to how the score is calculated. So we talked about 50% being growth at the elementary. At the high school, 35% is growth. 35% is your weighted achievement. But as you can see, growth is still huge importance. Because once again, 70% of your entire letter grade is weighted achievement and growth. So once again, let's identify where we can grow our kids, and let's grow our kids. So that's the difference. Now, this 4-year and 5-year, what this is your graduation rate. So your 4-year graduation rate, so a kid graduates like they're supposed to, well, that's 10%. If it takes them an extra year to graduate, so let's say that at some point they're held back, at some point, it doesn't have to be in the high school necessarily, but they didn't graduate where they're supposed to, they got held back somewhere, but they still graduate. That's calculated into their 5-year graduation, which is 5%. So going back up to the top here with your ESSA score, our ESSA score for the high school was 58.02. The state average 64.02, so we were still 6 points below our state. And one thing I always like to say, I want to be with the state or above the state. So we got some work to do. So once again, if you go down to the second page, we're at 58.02. A 58.02 qualifies us as a D campus. Now, we're almost there, but right now the state of Arkansas says we are a D campus. Okay? That's where we're at. So now my question is, are we going to focus on the problem or focus on the solution? It is what it is. We can't go back and do anything to change the fact of right now the state of Arkansas says we're a D and we're an F. So now it's, okay, how are we going to focus on the solution? So here's what the district is doing to address some concerns. First off, we want to make sure that our Tier 1 instruction promotes educational opportunities. Our Tier 1 instruction is everyday instruction in the classroom. Every child has the best, this is what we want to address. Every child has the best classroom instruction in every single class that they go into. No matter the teacher, no matter the concept, no matter the subject. That's Tier 1. Secondly, we did hire at the beginning of the year a reading interventionist, still working on the testing piece there, looking to hire 2 or 3 paraprofessionals to also do the reading interventions with our students, but they have to be highly qualified. We want to pay for that with our ARP ESSER monies. I want to have some competitions for our interim assessments. We took the first interim assessment back in maybe beginning of September, if not late August. We have another one coming up in December, so now we're going to look at growth. And we're going to throw parties. There's going to be a grade that wins a party based on the growth. So the way I usually do it is if you're the grade that grew the most points out of all these tests, you get the party. But if you're not in the winning grade, but you still grew the most in your grade, you're invited to the party. Okay, so it's not just based on your grade, it's also depending on how well you individually do. So we're going to have parties for that. And there's some things that we've been thinking about is just as simple as going to the gym for a half a day, buying some lunch, just having a good time. We've also talked about going to park, maybe in Fairfield Bay. They've got mini golf right there. They've just different stuff like that. Just getting out and celebrating successes, because I think that's what it's going to take as well. Getting parents and guardians involved in the schools. Once again, I am huge on community involvement. I want the community involved. I want our parents involved. We have formed parenting partners. We have started it already. Tonight's session 3. We're going to do it again in the spring. It is a 6-session thing and then a graduation. If you attend at least 5 out of 6, you get to graduate. We provide you a light meal. I have to say light meal so we can pay for it. And we just do it upright. We provide child care during the time. It's a lot of fun. I've got to attend some of one session, but I know it from another school. It's a lot of fun. Our parents have a blast with it, and I've never heard anything negative from anybody who's gone through it. I would like to start a watchdog program for dads. I think it's time for men in our community, parents, grandparents, guardians. I think it's time for us to step up for the benefit of our kids, and so we want to start that as well. We've not kicked that off yet, but it's coming. So we need males. We need men to be leaders. So that's what we want. Men can also do the parenting partners. Just throw that out there. It's not a man-woman thing. They can still do that. We suggest a man and a woman, a couple, a parent, guardians doing it together, and let us take care of your kids during that time. We need, and I just threw this in there, we need to be as enthusiastic about raising our academic expectations as we are cheering on our teams in the gym. Man, ball games are a lot of fun, but if we got that excited about what our kids are doing in school, and I mean, it's fixing to get really good around here, but it's going to take all of us. My goals for the district, and I know I'm running out of time, so increase academic expectations by addressing Tier 1 concerns. Increase enrollment, hopefully, by us taking care of the Tier 1 expectations. We're hoping that students will want to stay here and parents will want their students to stay here. So we want to minimize the school choice request. We always want to look at recruitment and retention of employees. Attending, and what I like to do is attend career fairs, and the days of us sitting back and people knocking on our doors for jobs is pretty much over. We've got to go and recruit, and we got to be salesmen for our community and for our school, and that's my job as well. And always looking at ways to raise employee pay. Our teachers, employees do not get nearly paid enough, but at the same time, we only got so much money, and it is what it is for now. Lastly, or second to the last, promote student attendance, rewards for perfect attendance. We've got to make sure our kids are here. We cannot learn if we're not here, and I think part of that is getting that health center up and going, because that way, instead of going to Fairfield Bay or to Clinton or wherever else, we can simply come across the street, get what we need, and hopefully get back to class. And then lastly, a big one though, even though it's number 5, open communication with all stakeholders. Currently, just like we're doing right now, we're streaming our meetings on our district YouTube channel, which I hope people's enjoying that cannot be here. Posting regularly on the district Facebook page. Sometimes it seems like all we do is post, and it's like, my gosh, 5 posts in one day. I'm not a big Facebooker, so when I post 5 things in one day, I'm like, oh my God. But once again, I think it's important to make sure that we're on the same page and just the open communication. And anything that involves our kids, I want to post out there. I think it's important. And then once again, district communication notifications. If you didn't know, you could go to our website. As soon as you get on our website, there's a tab there that says communication notifications or something to that effect. You can fill out that Google form, and that way the most important thing is to make sure that your email address is right, and I think it's going to ask you about who your phone carrier is, because I think that depends on something else. I'm not a tech person. I don't have a clue. But that's how you get our district communication notifications. I am running out of time, but if you have any concerns, suggestion on how we can improve our district, learning opportunities, campuses, or just want to shoot the breeze about here's what I feel like our district should be doing, please feel to reach out to the campus administration. If it's a specific campus concern, reach out to the campuses. There's the numbers. If it's a district concern, or if you just want to, you like me so much you want to come to me, totally fine. Come to me, let's talk, and because once again, we're all in this for the benefit of our kids. So with that, I believe that is it.
Okay.
So thank y'all again for allowing me to talk about our district. I never get tired of talking about our district. And once again, if you guys that's here or the ones that's on streaming, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, okay? Tonight's not really that night of open question and answer, but I want to hear your suggestions. If you have them, reach out to us. We never mind. All right. So with that, I think our annual report to the public meeting will be closed at 6:31, 1 minute late. So what we're going to do, I would say, let's take a couple of minutes to kind of reset before we start our board meeting. That way I can get my stuff set up as well, and then we'll start that. Okay?
Perfect, thank you. I had a parent asking how she could get on to watch the video, so I had to
Did I pause it?
You paused it, yes, yes. It's a sweet little baby. I just want to hold the sweet little baby.
Oh, it's a tiny baby.
Tiny, tiny baby. Yeah. We're just going to give him a couple minutes to refresh, and then we'll get started. Mics on.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and get started with the October 24th regular meeting. So if we'll all stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming this evening. We do have a quorum. We have a couple missing this evening, but we have a quorum, so we are ready to get started.
All right, the very first thing that we're going to get started on will be our student and staff recognition. So, Coach Ward, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, I'd like to thank you for everybody coming out tonight. There's 6 awards I'd like to give tonight. I was a little late because I went to a couple of our local businesses in Clinton and got some extra things from McDonald's and also from Pizza Hut. So
Awesome.
it's not just going to be a piece of paper. Anyway.
I have an award. I mean,
All right. First of all, in the 12th grade, I don't think this young lady's here, but I've been very impressed with her this year. It's Alyssa Mizell. She went above and beyond on her work keys and finished all the material in the college and career readiness. And that was from Mrs. Lewis.
Great.
Very nice.
All right, this one's I think it's a sixth grader, and I'm thinking it's Lily, but it may be Lily. Sis, would you come forward, please? Miss Lily rides my bus, and I'd like to, also, before I get to what was written down here, she is a wonderful young lady. Every day, come on up. Every afternoon, here you go, honey. She is quiet. She helps me when I need to. She sings along when I sing, right? Sometimes she likes my music. Mrs. Rushing nominated her for outstanding behavior in class. So thank you, Lily.
Awesome.
Yay,
Lily.
This second grader is Mr. Benjamin Cooper. Is he here tonight? All right, I'm going to go ahead and talk about him a little bit. He is a kind student, always helping his peers, and that comes from Mrs. Wiggins. And I vouch for him because in the school lunchroom I see him every day, and he's always smiling and giving me hugs. All right, Mr. Brantley Pruitt, would you come forward, please? Are you a first grader, young man? That's what I thought. He has always shown kindness and friendship and is eager to help in any way. He is also always ready to learn and never gives up. Kindness is never appreciated enough in this world today. Right. And I'd like to thank you, Mr. Brantley. Here you go. Thank you, sir. He's almost as nervous as I am.
Don't leave because we're going to take pictures.
That was from Mrs. Prince, by the way. The next one is Ricky Layton. Come on up, Ricky. I like that name, by the way. Anyway,
Gee, I wonder why.
I see him also every day in lunch. I'm going to, that's one of my favorite things to do and least favorite things at the same time. But anyway, I love seeing all the kids. He is very helpful on the bus every afternoon, and that's for Mr. Larry's bus, right? That was from Mrs. Howard. Here you go. Thank you. Last one is a high school student. I believe she's a 10th grader. I should have thrown a couple of extra eating things in there because she needs them. Anyway, is Miss Addie Overturf. This year in Pee Wees, we were always looking for help, and Addie sat on the bench during the Pee Wee girls games and always helped and instructed the girls and told them what they needed to do. And also, she's always really nice to me. So thank you, Addie.
Yes.
That came from Mrs. Brown, by the way. That's it. Thank you.
All right, so what we're going to do, guys, is just give it a second so we can take a picture
Sure.
with our new backdrop, and so it'll take about a minute or so, and then we'll come right back. Okay?
Okay.
Come on up, guys.
Come on out. We're going to go right here. Just make sure I get it. I don't stand by Addie because I'm too short.
Come on in, Mr. Pruitt.
I'll be the short girl. Come on in, Callie.
Can you get us all?
Stand, Will, you're the tallest person up here.
Okay.
I don't know. I just.
All right, smile.
Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it. Thank y'all, fellas. Now, you're more than welcome to stay. Y'all can leave whatever you want.
What do you want to do? You want to stay or go?
I'll see you later. If I was given an option, I'd leave. He never gives it to me.
Ricky, I got my keys. Let's go.
What grade was Ricky in?
Thank y'all.
What grade was he in?
Congratulations.
Second? Is that no? Remember? Okay.
I hope our board don't take it this serious. I mean, offensively, but that's my favorite part of the board meeting right
I was
there.
going to
Mine
say,
too.
that's fine. Yes.
It's my second favorite.
Yeah.
To the end.
Oh, the motion to adjourn.
That's
okay,
right.
Okay.
All right, so next on the agenda is approval of September 26th and October 4th board meeting minutes. You guys have had a copy of that. I'll pull up a copy of September here on the board. Not that I'll be able to read it. There it goes. That's pretty good.
It was quite a long meeting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I hate that I missed that.
We can tell by the smile.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve the meeting minutes from September 26th.
Well, I'm gonna have to second it. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, Robert? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Can we
Callie wasn't here, so she won't be able to vote.
pass it on 2-0?
Oh, I don't know.
What's the question?
Can we pass it on a 2-0 vote? Is that enough for a vote?
It is not.
No.
Okay, well, we're gonna table that.
So we'll have to table that
We're
one.
gonna table that until
But we can
next
vote on
time.
the next one, though.
We can vote on the next one.
Thanks, Callie. You
Sorry.
had to be on vacation.
That's my job.
Me one day.
And then the passing approval of the October 4th special board meeting.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from the October 4th special board meeting as presented.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right, the next thing on our agenda, of course, is our 3 things that we always look at every month. The first one being our revenue. And so in the month, man, I cannot see that on that board.
This
So-
is September.
And this was September. So our revenue, $328,151.02.
I just noticed myself backing away from the numbers to see them.
And then our expenditures, 3 pages long, but at the same time, when you get down to the end of it, that was $116,280.36. And then the one that I like to look at is our fund balance comparison of September of this year, last year, and the year before.
How's the shot clock working?
It's a learning process, but it's good. It's good. You know, one thing I like about it is we were able to find a worker, which is great. Because, you know, once again, if you can't find a worker, then a couple of things that your other options are not nearly as great.
Right.
You know, as far as play all your games on the road or have hand signals and all this, and that's not great. So it's definitely working. Just it's a learning process.
We have burnout bulbs in the one on
Mm-hmm.
this side.
And the scoreboard.
On
Yeah.
the- On the scoreboard itself, not the shot clock.
Oh, and the shot clock? Oh, well, that's under warranty, so it shouldn't. I thought I saw some out in
I
our.
thought it was LED. I'm so-
Yeah, well, comes out.
It still had. There's something that's still underneath there. Eventually, you gotta replace it. Even LED. There's something that's underneath there. But I'll look into that. No big deal.
Thank you.
Are there any questions about the revenue, expenditures, or fund balance? One thing I did have, Ms. Jenny put extra on the fund balance comparison is the very last item, operating fund balance. Just comparing the last 3 years, and as you can see, 686,758 at the end of September this year compared to 1 million the year before. So if you look at that and you go, oh my gosh, but you also have to realize that of how much money we took out of operating fund to put into building fund. So that's where you're going to see a discrepancy there.
Well, the building fund, we have 645,000 in now, right?
Well, close. Overall, our building fund, when you talk about that in our net legal balance, we actually have 4.7 million altogether. So it's a little misleading there.
Right, the net legal and the building fund together.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, but if you look at last year's.
Correct.
balance,
Yep, 34, that's, I mean,
600,000 higher.
600,000, yep. Yep. One thing I had to go back and ask Miss Jenny about, I said, now, Miss Jenny, I know, you know, all these blanks in here, these dashes in here, I was going, Well, it doesn't make sense to me because, here, for instance, this operating fund number 2, 615,000 here, and then you look at the revenue was 116,000, then it looks like no expenditures coming out of the operating fund, and all of a sudden your ending balance was a whole lot less, and I'm going, okay, I'm going to have to be able to explain that. And so here's the explanation for that. We do a lot of transfer from our operating fund 2 to our operating fund. So our 2,000 fund to our 1,000 fund. So we pay teachers out of our 1,000 fund. We get that number. Here's the monthly payment for our employees out of this fund. Then we make that transfer out of our 2,000 fund to the 1,000 fund. So our 1,000 fund's always going to show 0. Always. It's a lot of transfers. So that's the explanation there. So yes, we had money coming into it, and really this number here, this dash here, really there should be a large number there because it's transferred out to our 1,000 to pay our employees.
We need a motion on this?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I was still reading. Go ahead, I'm ready.
I make a motion, we approve the financial report as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I never knew we had all these different funds, the catastrophic funds.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just because that we have it coded already? It's a fund that's, what's the purpose for it, I guess?
Well, that catastrophic is, if I'm not mistaken, is a special education fund. And so when it says catastrophic, it doesn't necessarily mean, oh my gosh, world's coming to an end, so here's funding for it. There's stipulations that if they're met, it's considered a catastrophic expense. And so we're reimbursed for that.
Okay.
Mhm. But we do have a lot of different codes. There's a ton of them.
Is this all of them, or?
That is not all of them.
That's what I figured.
Mm-mm. Because what's not on there is your
Thanks.
activity funds. So your 7,000 funds, they're not on there at all. I'm telling you, I've got a book that's about that thick of every fund and all that. There's a ton of them.
And I just want to ask, just because I don't know what it is, account 17310.
Is that on fund balance, so I can pull it back up?
Yes. The revenue?
On the revenue?
Uh-huh, revenue.
All right, let me get to that on here because I'm not going to be able to see it on there. And what budget unit did you say, or account?
17310.
17310.
Why does it say versus rural special? What is that?
So, I don't have the financial handbook in front of me, but all those are different. The last 5 digits is like what do we use that for? For instance, like 66100 is general supplies and things like along that line. I would have to go back and look. And in fact, if you want me to, if you guys are in executive session that I'm not there, if I'm out a little early or whatever, I can find that and
I was curious.
and let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? Anybody? No?
But I like the fact that that's revenue.
Yeah.
Right.
So possibly.
That's what I would think.
Oh, okay, that makes
That's-
sense, yeah, versus rural
Possibly.
special,
Like a
so the
pee-wee-
date-
pee-wee
okay.
So that'd be
deposit or something?
Pee-wee. That'd be a Pee-wee.
Okay,
Yeah.
good job, it just took all of us, it's fine.
Well, it normally does. Yeah.
Any further
Takes a village.
discussion?
It does take a village.
All those in favor? Thank you.
Any opposed?
Oh, any opposed? Same sign.
All right. The very next thing, last month I gave you guys a homework assignment. I did not include, because it was such a large packet, I did not include it again this month, but I was wondering, it was the PPC, it was the certified PPC recommendations for policies. So I didn't know, I didn't hear from anybody, so I'm assuming there was no questions about it. And so.
They seem straight.
They're very straightforward. The only couple of things that was there, some options as far as sick leave. There's two different options. You'll see the same ones again with the some of the information that I provided you in there for the classified PPC. It's the same policy, and so one thing I made sure that the two policies that classified's recommending and that certified already had recommended are together.
So both groups have approved?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. So if there's no questions about the certified, we'll make I'll entertain a motion for the certified PPCs policies that were presented
Did you read
last month.
in your packet?
Oh, yeah, did you
She
see
read it.
Okay.
So we can say she had them.
I got it.
All right, so I'll obtain a motion.
I'll make a motion, it's for the certified, right?
It is for the certified.
Certified.
But we make a motion to accept the certified, what is it, PPC policies.
Correct. As
As
presented last
presented.
month. Yep.
Okay, I have
I'll
a
s-
motion and do I have a
I'll
second?
second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign.
Thank you for that. The next thing is the classified PPC staff vote for salary schedule changes. If you remember, there's a long list of stuff that had to be done. You guys had to make a proposed policy. It had to go back to PPC. It had to come back here for a final one, and then PPC had to send it out to vote. And so that's what the results are there that you have in front of you. They voted on that. So on the nurse's salary, if you remember, we wanted to change that from 180 days to 185.
Right.
Out of the 25, and the important part is you can't just have a majority vote. You have to make sure that at least the majority of however many classified staff that you have votes, and then out of that you still have to maintain that majority vote. So for instance, we have 28 classified employees. There were 25 that voted, so we met that criteria there. And out of that, so we had to have at least 15 yeses for it to pass. And as you can see on the nurse's salary change, we had 23 out of the 25 agree. And on the bus mechanic salary schedule change, which was adding that to the salary schedule at a 220, we had 24 agree with 24 out of 25 that agreed with that. So there's nothing else for you guys to do. It's just simply I wanted to make sure
Okay.
it's informational, but at the same time I put it outside the informational section. Okay. So nothing else for us to do there. It will go down as a policy for this school year, and I'll make the changes on our website to notify that as well. So the yellow spots that's on those will no longer be yellow. It will no longer say proposed. Here's our salary schedule for this year on that. Okay. The next thing is resources. I kind of made mention to it earlier. It's called BoardWorks. We use this at my former school, and let me kind of just show you real quickly. We don't have enough time to dive into it. But one thing that I wanted to, well, let me see. I'm hoping that volume works, or it's at least turned up loud.
It's loud.
Hopefully it's not too loud.
Empower your teachers and engage your students with BoardWorks education. BoardWorks provides a turnkey library of interactive lessons to enrich K-12 instruction. Aligned to your state standards, each comprehensive resource has hundreds of lessons and thousands of ready-made activities. Every presentation is a complete lesson and made in a familiar slideshow format, providing everything you need to bring your lessons to life. The ready-made animations are wonderful to provide teachers with engaging visuals to support instruction in the classroom or if your students are learning remotely. The resources offer fantastic activities that will save your teachers countless hours of time in lesson preparation and support teaching continuity in a hybrid model. BoardWorks offers many types of engaging formative assessments that provide immediate feedback, allowing teachers to check for understanding. Teachers and students can also regenerate questions for countless practice. The resources are filled with opportunities for the students to interact with the content themselves. This can be done by sharing a presentation code as part of a live lesson that the teacher is conducting or via a code that supports self-paced student work. BoardWorks requires no student logins or passwords and never collects any student data. Finally, both the BoardWorks presentations and worksheets are fully customizable, providing you the flexibility to differentiate based on the needs of your students. To see how BoardWorks can enhance teaching and learning in your district, click the link below to schedule a call to learn more.
All right, so that's BoardWorks. Once again, it's simply a resource. It's not the source. Our teachers are the source. This just gives more opportunities, more resources for teachers to choose from. We're not expecting them, we're not saying, hey, you got to use this daily, because once again, they know what's best for them, their students, and instruction. But it simply gives them another resource. So the thing with BoardWorks is there is a substantial, pretty hefty upfront fee to get the whole entire resource that you'll see on your quote there. And that's the reason why I'm bringing it to the board. It's a one-time fee, and that one-time fee, K-12. Here's what I like about BoardWorks. As I used to teach 8th grade, if I see a student that is struggling with first off, I can use their PowerPoints, their lessons, stuff like that, and I can help create my own using their stuff. And also in the day that we live in, that we're pushing stuff out through Google Classroom and all that, I can push out the lesson to my students, especially at the high school. They're one-to-one Chromebooks. Now they have the lesson in front of them on their Chromebook. I can maneuver the stuff around. If I'm teaching a math lesson over angles, I can grab the angle on the screen and I can redo the problem, change the problem just by clicking on it and dragging it around, doing this, that, and the other. But it's one of those that's simply just a resource. After the first initial upfront cost of everything, it's simply a tech fee. So as you can see, there's a 10% tech fee every year thereafter. And also one thing I liked about them is that we talked to them, once again, in my previous district about it, and I said, what if we decide that we pay that upfront fee, we pay the 10% the next year, and then the year after that we go, you know what, we don't think we're going to renew it this year. And they said, well, you just wouldn't pay the whatever. But then like in the next year, if you go, hey, we want to pick it back up, we really do, like, you still just go back to pay the 10% fee. You don't go back to pay the original price again. Now, if it was 2 or 3 years that you went by without paying it, at some point they're probably going to make you pay the upfront fee again. But that's the reason why I like it. It's simply just a resource. Every teacher in the district. So if I'm a high school, if I'm Mr. Ahern, high school math, I don't just have high school math resources. I can go all the way back down. If I wanted to go back down to first grade, I don't know why you ever would, but let's say that he said, hey, I got a student that's really struggling. I think they need this. We can go from there and start working our way back up to see exactly where they're at. He has access to that.
I guess also you could, if you teach a 10th grade math and you have somebody who's excelling ahead,
Exactly right.
you can give them 11th grade work.
If we have our elementary teachers that go, we got this kid that, man, I just can't really challenge them enough. Well, I can start pulling, and I'll use Miss Little since she's here. I can start pulling second grade. I can start pulling third grade, depending on what that student might need.
And since the teacher knows where the student could possibly go, they would know what would be tailored for them.
Right, because one thing that we're, and we met with the teachers a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks now, about our PLC process that we're going to try to get going back up again, which we should be. But it asks 4 major questions, and the first few questions, what is it that we want our students to know, which that's our essential standards. How do we know that they know it? So that's going to be our assessment. That third question, what are we going to do if they don't know it? So you're looking at your interventions, and that's where this could come into play as well. But then the fourth question is, what do I do if they already know it? So we tested, they already know it. I don't have to go back and reteach and retest, but I can't just sit there and let that kid do nothing or reteach and retest what they already know, because now they're bored. So now I can pull resources to help me enrich what we're doing in class. You know, I can help them out a little bit more there, and they have access to every grade level. So, you know, what I'm asking here is for us to buy the whole entire suite, K-12, and as you can see, the resources are listed there, what all we're getting there. So elementary, the core subjects there all the way up through, you're talking about your high school, Algebra 1, 2, geometry, U.S. history, world history, and things like that. And it's got Arkansas state standards. So even if, you know, a teacher goes, I've tried teaching such and such standard this way, and I'm looking at my assessment results, my data cycle, and the kids are just not understanding this. This is simply they can go and pull what resources are here just for that particular standard. Maybe let's try it this way. Just opens up other opportunities. So that's why I brought it to you guys, just because it was so much. I would not approve this so much for resources without bringing it to you guys first.
What does the staff think about it?
So I talked to them a little bit. I sent them out something saying, hey, here's what I like to do. The only thing is I went back to this company and said, hey, can we have a free trial? And they don't do free trials. They're like, we can meet with you and demo it with your people. But yet, you know, there's not really a good way to do that outside of, hey, stay after school and let's do a 30-minute demo.
My second question is there a way for us to see how much it is being used?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that way we can figure out if nobody's using it at the end of the year, we just go, well,
Correct. And like we talked about earlier with when it comes to our title funding, you know, this would be paid for out of title funding. It's supplemental. So that, what I talked about earlier, that carryover, that's something that simply I can go, and of course, our carryover that we have to spend is not nearly this much. I think it was like 8 to 10,000, but still, yet it could be one of those that, hey, this is how we're using that carryover plus some. Here we go. So that's kind of what we're looking at there.
Have you ever used this?
Yes.
In the district?
Me, myself, I've not used it to teach. I've used it as an administrator with teachers using it in the classrooms.
And they were pleased with it?
Yes. What you had, honestly, anything that like, any resources that you have, you're going to have those that really love it, and they're going to go to it almost daily. And then you have some that go, I think my stuff is better. But at the same time, it provides, you know, what we're trying to do, especially if we're out on AMI. AMI are not free days. Okay, I know that's sad to hear, but AMI are not free days. They still have to do something. Now I don't expect them to be cram-packed of educational stuff all day long. I want them to be kids and be able to play and all that, you know, because we're usually out for weather. So I want them to be kids and be able to utilize that, but at the same time, it's an easy way to go. Today our assignment is, and I'll shoot it out to them, especially at the high school level when they are one-to-one. We're going to have to figure out some stuff on that for elementary who's not one-to-one outside of the buildings.
I'm all for it if we think something that can enrich us and, I mean, because we do something,
You got to do something, and that's the
a
thing.
place to start.
Mhm. It at least provides more resources, and it provides those conversations when we need to have those conversations of our tier 1 instruction. Have you tried using this? What would it look like in your room? It allows us those opportunities as well.
I guess also if we get back, move toward the PLC setup, it'll be, people can exchange ideas and, hey, I've been doing this, it works pretty well with this group or whatever.
Yeah, with our PLCs, we'd have to definitely, a school this size will more likely do vertical alignment than horizontal. And so it's something, especially between the two buildings, it's a good conversation starter of, hey, how do you teach? Because most of your themes are going to be all the way from early elementary all the way up through high school. It's just simply at what depth do you teach it? And so those are good conversations to have. We want to make sure that we're calling things the same thing, using the same vocabulary as much as possible. But it gives us a common theme as well.
All right.
I make a motion, we accept the quote for Board Works.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign.
All right, thank you for that. The next thing is we have a board-to-board transfer request. It's not one of students who were here and requesting to leave. It's actually they attend Clinton currently. They have bought a place or renting a place, or their primary place of living right now is outside of Clinton School District, is in our school district. So they've never been on our campus as far as I know. So they're just simply requesting to keep their kids in Clinton.
I spoke with her when she had her electric turned on.
Okay.
So the kids never came here?
I don't believe so.
I don't think they've ever.
They've not been this year anyway. And that was my understanding, is that they've always attended, or at least for the last however long, attended Clinton.
Yeah, I don't remember them ever being here. We'd love to have them, but
We would definitely love to have them.
And she works at Clinton, or she subs over there for that company they use.
Now, I will say that I believe that we have informed her of opportunities to sub here. And I actually believe that Mother has picked up a sub packet here. I'm hoping.
we can revisit it again next month
But-
if she decides to sub here for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at there with those kiddos there.
All right.
Well, I make a motion, we approve the board-to-board transfer of the, do I have to mention, can I just say the 3 students?
I think we have to say their name on the podium.
Of Logan Hand, Jude Willoughby, and Ashley Dollar.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'm only voting yes because they're already there. You guys know
Yes.
how I feel about transfers. So all those in favor? All those opposed, same sign.
All right, thank you. Once again, we would sure love to have them if they ever decide to come this way. The next thing is an enrollment report. Our enrollment from last month to this month has been steady. It's 320. I didn't do this. I should have done this, but looking at last month's report and this month's report, I should have compared, because I think what's probably happened, yes, we have the same number, but the grade makeup has changed. I think we've had some that's left in certain grades but come in on certain other grades. So the number is still the same. So the overall number is holding steady, which is great. I love that we're steady. We would love to have more kids, but that's where we're at right now, 320. So nothing for y'all to do, just simply wanted to let you guys know that's where we're at. But once again, we're hoping to improve and still building that excellence of instruction, and hopefully we won't have as many requests for board-to-board transfers coming up from this school year to next. Some informational things, and I probably should have just put the enrollment report down in the informational, but once again, we've had parenting partners. Tonight is the 3rd session of that. And I know Ms. Callie has attended a session, and I'm very thankful for the ones that we have in attendance. We want more. We want more and more and more every time we do this. I think the way that's going to grow is by word of mouth from the people that go through it to come back. What my plan is that you go through the program and all that, and then as we do it again, seeing if maybe some of those parents can become our classroom leaders for that. So they're leading other parents through it along with our teachers. And I'm still hoping that that's going to be the case with the three that's going through it now. At least one or two of them, if not all three, helping us teach the class when we do it again in the spring. But Ms. Callie, I'm going to kind of let you kind of say a couple things about it.
The one I attended was, I don't even remember the name of it. Parenting Positive. What was the name of that?
I'll have to look it up. There's so many. There's 6 different
But
things.
I was really, I was impressed with the curriculum that it gave, but the mother, there was only mothers there, and they were very engaged.
Creating confident kids.
Creating
Yeah.
confident kids, and it was, honestly, it was just about how, where you tell your child, well, you could have made an A. Let's reword that. You got to be, that's great. I think that really needs to happen. It's just a really good program. So good that Foss is going to partner with them, and we're going to do some fundraisers to get them some money to get parents up here. If we have to give away a large screen TV for drawings and get those sorts of things. But it's a really neat program, and it just makes you think about things. Even I went back to work and thought, yeah, I probably shouldn't say it like that. I should say it like this.
Maybe I should bump mine up a couple of weeks then.
Yeah, everybody should sit through it.
Well, and the thing I really like about it, anything that we do to partner with our parents and guardians and stakeholders and all that, I'm never going to say no to that. We've got to build that relationship. We got to continue to build that relationship, and because if we're going to have successful students, which we will, it's going to take us all. We want to educate the whole child, and the whole child is making sure that their whole entire environment is coming together saying what's best for this child, and that's what we're going to do, no matter if we're talking about parent side or school side. I've said often as a principal and having a parent-teacher meeting that could go south, and one thing I like to remind both sides is, ultimately, I might not like you right now and you might not like me right now, but we should have a common theme, and that common theme is what's best for that kid. And as long as we have that, we're on equal footing right now, because we're looking past our personal things of each other. We're looking at what can we do for that child, and I think that's the conversations that we have to have with our parents, and our parents have to have with the school. And so it's just, man, it's a great thing, and we're looking to expand that. We want to expand that. So next semester, people will have another chance at being a part of it, and we're hoping that it continues to build and grow, and then year after year after year, just keep turning out more and more and more people that goes through the program. It's 6 classes, 6 weeks. That's it. I know it's tough going around basketball and all that, but it's only 6 weeks, and I promise you it's worth it.
And it's
So
1 hour.
that's it.
You get a light dinner.
Yeah, a light meal. Yep,
Light meal.
And
get a light meal.
Listen to Solon's, but
Thank you, Ms. Callie, for
she
talking
was-
about that.
She wasn't with us the one I went to.
Yeah.
No, but she was at the first one, they said. And she's always a hoot to be
Oh,
around.
my
Yeah.
goodness, yes.
The next thing is basketball. Go ahead.
And you said there's a session on November 3rd?
There is one on November the 3rd.
That's a Thursday of that week, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then there's one on November the 7th.
I've got the 14th.
Uh-huh. Unless we're
Right.
going to
Okay,
Plummerville. Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to go ahead and make it official.
My name
I'll
is
be there on the
Robert.
3rd.
Okay.
Put it on my calendar right now,
Yep.
that way I won't book
What
anything
time does it
else.
start?
It starts at 6 p.m. It's an hour and a half. It's 6 to 7:30. And the rest of the sessions besides the night will be right here in the PD Center. Of course, with the board meeting going on, they're meeting a few doors down there in the FACS, the home economics used to be FACS classroom across the way. So anyway, that's where they're at, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sorry, what time again?
6 6 to 7:30. We offer childcare from 5:45 to 7:45, so that way you can drop off your child, come in here, do the stuff, and then go back and pick them up. We have employees that are on duty for childcare. Any other questions about that or anything?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Basketball season full force. We we got some fun teams to watch. But I still wanted to remind everybody that we still have senior passes and season passes available. Right now, the season passes are $60 a piece. It does not make sense to buy a season pass for a student because if you add up, if they attend every ball game at $3 a piece, you still wouldn't equal 60 at the end. So it doesn't make sense for them. It still makes sense for adults, but just barely. We're running out of time for that. At a certain time, we're going to knock down that price, but once again, that's what it is right now. It's going to be a few weeks down the road when it gets to the point where, okay, now it makes no more sense to pay $60. We're going to start knocking that price down.
What's the senior pass?
The senior pass, pretty much, if you're a senior citizen, you come and get a pass and you get them for free, okay? And so I'll go ahead and throw this out there because we won't have another meeting between now and then. On November the 11th, it's a Friday night. We actually play, let me get to my calendar here. We play at home versus Viola. And that's going to be junior girls, senior boys. It's also Veterans Day. So if you're a veteran, whether you're a veteran and you're coming to support Shirley, or if you're a veteran that's coming to support Viola, if you're a veteran, okay, if you can show us, hey, here's my whatever, okay, it's got to, unfortunately, I'd like to believe everybody that says they're a veteran, but at the same time, you people will take advantage of that. Please come. Even if you don't have something to show, please come. We want people there. But we're going to let veterans get in for free that night, whether they're there to support us or Viola. We just want people there, veterans there. We want to recognize them during the game. So it's just a perfect time, November the 11th.
I know a guy that's in charge of the Veterans Group in Fairfield Bay. I'll make sure he knows that.
I
Absolutely.
was just thinking that, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's fun. It's great to see 'em come.
It'd be great. We'd love to have them, as well as anybody else. We want to pack out our stadium there, our arena. We want to pack it out.
While we're talking about basketball, I'm gonna
Yes.
throw it out there. I couldn't watch the game at Southside the other night. I was enjoying watching Coach Ward and yourself out there with those kids. I was having a hard time focusing on the game because that just made me so happy.
It's a lot of fun.
And the kids feel like they can really,
Yeah.
cheer if you guys are down there with them and not saying we can't do that. So thank you. Y'all can.
We could definitely tell who cheered.
Oh, good.
We could definitely tell which ones cheered because, like myself, I came to work the next day and couldn't hardly talk, and there were a lot of kids that was in the same thing. Of course, we're trying to make that easier on the teachers. Let's yell them that before you can't talk in class the next day.
There's madness, but either way, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
It's a lot of fun. Yes.
I look forward to many more of those.
I tell you, I love school spirit, and that's what we're going to have. Do want to let you guys know that we are partnering. We already have been partnering with Van Buren Sheriff's Office. Of course, we have Officer Clayton with them as our SRO and all that. We're always looking on how we can continue to partner with not just the Van Buren Sheriff's Office, but Fairfield Bay Police or whoever else it might be. I've told every officer I've ever come in contact with, including Arkansas Game and Fish, if you've got 10 to 15 minutes, you're driving through our area, and you go, boy, I really don't have anything to do or anywhere to go, I'm just driving through, stop by the school, check in the office, and walk the hallways. We're also partnering with Van Buren Sheriff's Office, walking the halls, bringing in canines, just anything that we can do as a partnership with them. It helps them as far as training. It helps us as far as training. We're hoping to have some active shooter trainings involving them. We just need to have that in place, hoping that we never have to use it. But it's always nice to know what we're supposed to do if we ever do have something that way. So just want to let you know that we're trying to figure out more and more ways to partner with the sheriff's office.
Is it a state requirement that we have to have active shooter?
Every year. Every year, you have to conduct it at least once. The last thing, I just gave you guys in your packets, I gave you 3 examples of superintendent evaluations. I know that's coming up in January, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So there's nothing for you guys to do tonight. I gave it to you from what we currently use. I gave it to you from Andy Chisholm, who is at Mayflower now. But he said this was their old one at Mayflower. Their new one that they use is actually number 3, and that's ASBA. So I included that as well. So that's just something for you guys to kind of simmer on, for y'all to talk about. When we get back together again next month, to just kind of say which one we're going with. I looked at all 3 of them. It doesn't really matter to me which one we go with. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Sure. And we'll let you know.
Yep.
I think that we need to go ahead, like you said, next month. We'll discuss it because you need to know which
Yep.
one we're going to be grading you on.
Yep.
So,
That's right. So anyway, just want to throw that in for you guys as well.
Hey, should we include the one, the one that we got from that fella? He's up in Fayetteville somewhere. I think of his name, and I'm not thinking about it.
I still have it in my email on that.
I was speaking to say, if y'all know of others, it does not matter to me a bit.
Well, that's what we actually, Randy Hutchinson
Ah,
is his
yes.
name.
Man,
I'll look and see if I still have it.
pulled that out.
Yeah,
I know, I was
thinking
like-
about it, it came to me.
I was just going to like
We actually
search.
I contacted him a few years ago, and we got a copy of their evaluation too. So, we'll look at that one, and if you find a email copy, Randy Hutchinson,
I'll look and see if I've got it.
I tried to get a few more, but the ones I sent it to didn't respond back to me, and so I just said, well, here's 3 of them. But if y'all have other, please include them.
yeah, because it's, some of them are lacking, some of them are.
Yes, sir.
Or burdensome too. so-
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. And then the last thing on there on informational is I included the classified PPC policies to review, to vote on for next month.
Next month.
Mm-hmm. And it's not as many as what the certified was, but some of them you're going to go, boy, this sounds familiar, and it's because it is. It's because they have to match, and I think they already do match as far as the recommendation, and so I just included that for you.
And you said the 2 groups have already agreed
Correct.
on the.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they'll agree before they come to me and say, here's our recommendations, and they understand that it's simply recommendations to you guys. That you guys still have the ability to go, nope, not going to do that, or hey, we need to look at that, or whatever else. So they do understand that as well. Okay? And that's all the information I have.
Wow, we covered a lot.
We did cover a lot.
All right. So at this time, we are going to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
At 7:24.
7:24. Yes, ma'am, I did. Aren't you proud of me? All right, so we are back from executive session at 8:13. Where's your start? Thank you. Okay. Thank you guys for staying. I'm sure you'd rather be at home and enjoying the rain. Okay.
All right, so the first recommendation that I have for tonight is the reassignment of Rick Ward from Dean of Students to K-12 Principal.
I make a motion, we reassign Rick Ward from Dean of Students to K-12 Principal.
I grudgingly second it.
I have a motion and a grudgingly second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Congratulations, Rick. We look forward to great things coming from you.
On the same note as Coach Ward, one thing that he and I talked about is if he was selected as the recommended and approved for K-12 principal, that he would resign his route bus driving duties, but he would still be a sub when needed. So the recommendation number 2 is to accept the resignation of Rick Ward as a route bus driver.
I make the motion, we accept the resignation of Rick Ward as a bus driver.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Look at me.
My recommendation number 3 is to hire Clayton Barecki as a route bus driver for the newly vacated Rick Ward's bus position.
Rick quit.
That was quick. We just slipped him right in there.
I make the recommendation, we hire Clayton Barecki as a route bus driver.
I'll second it. Are you gonna take his route? Just blow the horn when you come by the house, okay?
That's it. That's it. And please wait for my child as he runs across every day. Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign.
All right, thank you. Recommendation number 4 is to accept the resignation of Angie Wolf as 712 English teacher.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Angie Wolf.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
And the last recommendation for the night, recommendation number 5, is to hire Megan Berry as Dean of Students for our district.
I'll make a motion, we hire Megan Berry as Dean of Students.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? All those opposed? Same sign.
Oh, I'm in favor, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say,
Sorry,
oh,
I was so quick. I'm sorry.
I write as,
I'm s-
sorry.
Let's try it again. All those in favor?
okay, so
All
it is,
those
it is a 3-0 vote.
It is, sorry.
Man, I was like, what in the world we got going on here?
Just keeping you on your toes.
Yeah. The last thing there is the next regular meeting is November the 28th. That is the day that we return from Thanksgiving break. This year is flying by. But that's November the 28th. So that's all I have.
All right.
November 28th.
I did get my date right, correct? It is a Monday?
Yes, the fourth, yes.
Okay.
Make sure my
Yes.
calendar is right.
All right. Anybody have a conflict with November 28th? Nope. Okay. So I'll accept a motion for.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Anybody want to stay longer?
That's my favorite motion.
Okay.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys. Y'all be careful going home in the rain. Turn your mics on.